Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rachak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, the elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, to the men on the highways and the byways that are pushing out this word and truth and sincerity, and to the remnant men, women, and children of the elect. To you all, I say Shalom. My name is Ahmawan, Ahyash, and I'm back with another lesson through the power and the spirit of Yahawashi. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying, and I wanted to do a land back off the elder brother Ahmawan Gabar. He did I watched his video this morning, and as you can see, the title of it is, check this out, the spirit of Isaiah 4:1 is already here, pulsating throughout the atmosphere. Okay, so and it's basically a lesson going into, you know, Isaiah 4:1. If you're not familiar with that verse, it's basically going into how 7 men shall take hold of one man, a spiritual man, in these last days, right? And that 7 men, that seven women represents a complete number. Okay, so, and that spirit is pulsating, okay, because there are a certain group of women who are starting to realize how important a man is in their everyday lives, a productive and, more importantly, a spiritual man. Because while they may not see the importance of a spiritual man at the moment, they at least see the importance of having a man around and not having that sense of pride on them, to where you know, the times that we're in, how the cost of living is going up. You got inflation, you got, you know, things that don't seem very certain at the moment in the times that we're in. The protection that a man can provide, because, you know, there's a lot of bug outs out here, and there's a lot of shit that's going on that puts the spotlight on how important having a man is. Okay, and that spirit of Isaiah 4:1, what women was saying, as you can see on here, this woman, the way she talks about monogamy, she's basically saying, look, hey, monogamy is something that you might want to actually consider, okay, for your man. Because first of all, men, we're about variety. Okay, men are about variety. We're about we have a hunter's spirit. Okay, and with that, we go out and we pursue multiples. Okay, in multiples. Okay, especially when it comes to women. Okay, because the glory of a man is a woman. You know, truth be told. You know what I'm saying? And one woman can't satisfy a man's appetite, so to speak. All right. So, and I'm not gonna play the elder brother's video. I just wanted to do a land back, because I have a video that I want to play, and it's going into the other side of it. Okay, looking at the so-called the N-dub, as we call it. Okay, the notorious Nigga woman. Okay, who is completely out of order, and is under the vibration of Esau Edom. Okay, she's under this man's his power structure, which has allowed these women to have a certain level of pride on them. But again, that's coming to an end. Okay, so what I want to do is, let me go to the video that I found, okay, on Instagram, and I'll play it. So I'm gonna play this.
Excuse me, ma'am. What's the most beautiful thing about a black woman?
Me.
Okay, I like that.
You might be on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. Why do you say me?
I think a black woman, the beautiful thing about a black woman is we can advocate for ourselves. We're black, we're beautiful, we strong. We take care of a lot of shit without a man. We don't need a man for shit.
So
Men was mad that we got jobs.
If I'm not mistaken, the question was, what is the most beautiful thing about a black woman? How did we go from that to her insulting men? Does it make sense to you guys? Because I'm kind of confused right now.
So you don't think black women need men at all?
I mean, we need men for all reasons, all sexual reasons, but in all reality, we don't need no man. I didn't watch my mother be a woman her whole life. She didn't need no man. She took care of me her whole motherfucking life. She did not need no nigga. She did not need my dad.
Excuse me, ma'am. What's the...
I'm gonna say what the I wanna say. If you don't like it, get the around me. If a female think they need a man, you're miserable. Cause you don't need you need yourself.
Okay. Okay.
You don't think that? Do you think your mother need a man?
I do.
For what?
For everything. I mean, it makes it easier. Life.
You think females need men?
Yes.
I could use my rose and get my nut off. I never needed a man.
But everything is not about sex, though.
Everything not money-wise. I'm a whole pharmacy technician. I get money. Man's money. I have a whole salary out here. I don't need no man. Men don't do but you over. Take your life. Beat out you. Kill you maybe. Come on now. Real men. Let me find a real man in the city.
So do you ever plan to get married to a man? Or like, are you with a man?
Yes,
Or
I want to get married. I do want to get married.
so you would say the same thing to your husband?
I'm blunt. I'm very honest. I'm straightforward. I'm blunt. I'm going to say what the I want to say. If you don't like it, get the around me. I'm very aggressive. And my husband going to know I'm aggressive. My husband going to love me. Because I'm so straightforward and real. No nigga like no friendly ass. I'm going to say what the I want to say.
Okay, and that's the bulk of what I wanted to play. For some reason I couldn't pause the video, so I just had to move it. What the elder, was going into is just that spirit, the spirit, as Isaiah 4:1, is upon us. But you have the other side, which is these women, these so-called black women, and as you can see, that's just disgusting behavior from anybody in general, let alone a woman. Okay, a woman is supposed to be soft. A woman's supposed to be gentle. She's supposed to be able to, all that masculine energy. And you hear that term a lot. And women act like, it's a man's fault that they have that masculine energy. No, you're just out of order. Okay, you've been raised by your mother, who didn't teach you no better. Okay, because she said it herself. My mom didn't need my dad, right, to raise me. So that just kind of goes to show where she gets it from. She most likely grew up in a household where her dad wasn't present, and who knows why that was the case. You know what I'm saying? But the whole point is, this shows the wickedness of the woman. And this shows the wickedness of the woman and how they're out of order. And we know the prophecy says that 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. So all of this energy that we see with a lot of these women, and I'm not gonna say every woman, because the video that I'm showing from the elder bro Ahmawan Gabar, he pointed out and showed where women are thinking differently. There's a lot of women who are thinking differently and understanding the times that we're in. Okay, and it's gonna be a point of emphasis to make sure you have a man or somebody who provides a sense of security, whether it's financially, whether it's spiritually, whether it's actual protection, that's going to be upon this world. All right. But this monster that I showed that's something that, man, she's going to regret. She's going to eat those words, for lack of a better term. She's going to have to eat all those words, because that's going to come back to haunt her. Because if you're in the spirit of not needing a man in these last days, then you don't know what's about to take place. You don't understand that there's a complete collapse of the dollar, of this society, of the job market's going to crash. Actual money, fiat currency. She mentioned being a pharmacy technician and how she gets a salary. All of these things are going to fail you in these last days. Okay? And because I mentioned that, let me just go real quick, because I just thought of it. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 31. Okay, actually 30. Let me get straight to the point, Salaki. Isaiah 30 and let me see here. What was it? 31. Let me see here. Yeah, there's a particular point that I want to get. Salakia, let me just find it. Both of these are good, but let me just go. Let me go Isaiah 31. All right, this is the book of Isaiah 31 and 1. I'll read it from the top. It says, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help." Egypt represents America, Babylon, the greatest spiritual Egypt. "And stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and horsemen, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord." Okay, and that's the spirit of a lot of our people, not just women. Okay, they believe in this society, they believe in this beast system, they believe that all things will be okay at some point, even when things end up going. If things are not necessarily right for them in the moment, things will end up okay. Okay, and that's the spirit that a lot of our people had. It says, verse 2, "Yet he also is wise and will bring evil and not call back his words, but will rise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity." Okay, now the Egyptians are men and not God, the Most High, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord stretched out his hand, because slacking, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall, and they shall fail together. Okay, so the spirit of America, the spirit of Babylon, the spirit of what the most people here in America trust in will fall. It will fail. Okay, let me just do Isaiah 30. Okay, Isaiah 31, it says, "Woe to the rebellious children, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, saith the Lord, Yahawah, by Shai, that taketh counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin." A lot of our people don't want to hear the words of the prophets. They don't want to hear the prophecy. They don't want to hear the warning that's going out. They don't want to hear about Jacob's trouble. They want to hear smooth words. Okay, prophesying to me smooth words. Okay, things that make me feel comfortable, not things that make me feel uncomfortable. I don't want to hear that. I want you to tell me how my dreams are going to come true. My aspirations here in America are going to come true. I don't want you to tell me that this is going to fail. What else am I going to do if this fails? That's the spirit of our people, especially the black woman. Verse 2, "That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt." Shadow of Egypt is America, and in Pharaoh, which is would be your modern day president, and again, this system that our people are caught up in, which all of us are in the system, but it's a matter of detaching. That's why Micah 2:10 says, arise ye and depart. Okay, for this is not your rest. We're not focused on America. We're not focused on what this place has to offer. We use this this system to get through. That's all it's good for. Okay, because there is no future here in America. There's no future Babylon the Great. That's why a woman like this can sit here and talk about how she don't need this, that, and the third, because she's relying on this. She's relying on, her job, her career. She's relying on what this place has to offer. And this is exactly what's going to fail you. Verse 3 says, "Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion." Okay, and this place is going to ultimately fail, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, because you've given it. And I mention this from time to time in my videos, but it's something that has stayed with me, and I'll never forget, because the elder Ahmawan Gabar, the same elder brother who's doing this video, he had mentioned at camp one time. He said to us, man, hey man, the only thing that's keeping this place afloat, and the only thing that's keeping the dollar alive, and the only thing that's keeping America afloat is the people's belief in it. Okay, and that's why that woman can get on camera talking about my money, my job, my career. That's why, because she believes in this place. She believes in what the so-called white man has to offer. All right, all of that energy that she was coming with and talking about it is because she hates black men, so-called black men, right? Because she hates order. Okay, she doesn't. That energy is because she doesn't want to be told what to do. Period. Point blank. All right. She says we can advocate for ourselves. He asked her, what is the most beautiful thing about a black woman? And she didn't even answer the question. Right? She was so triggered by the question. As she continued to talk, she got so triggered. She didn't even answer the question. She said, "What's the most beautiful thing about a black woman?" And she talking about we don't need black men for nothing. We can advocate for ourselves. My mom didn't need a dad. All that aggression was there for absolutely no reason. Right? That wasn't it. She could have just kept it on what actually makes black women beautiful. She could have answered that question, and not made it about nothing else but what he asked her, And we cannot wait for the Lord to start judging these women. All right, because it's just absolutely disgusting. Sirach 25:16 says, "I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman." Imagine keeping house with this.
If you don't like it, get the around me. If a female think they need a man, you're miserable.
Look at her eyes.
Because you don't need you need yourself.
She got demons on her. Imagine keeping a house with that. Just imagine. Because he asked her, do you want to get married? And she said yes. And then he said, would you say this to your man? And she really was stuck. She didn't really know what to say. Just imagine a man having to deal with that going home to that every day. That's why the scripture says a lion and a dragon. I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. Right? The wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance in sackcloth. Right? The wickedness of a woman changes her countenance.
Okay.
You don't think that? Do you think your mother need a man?
I do.
For what?
For everything.
It's absolutely disgusting. All right. A couple precepts. All right. This is the book of. Actually, I got it in the AMP. No, in a different version. This is the Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 in the CEB. 3 and 18. Slakia 3 and 8. It says, honor your father in action and word, so that a blessing will come from him to you. Since a father's blessing supports his children's families, but a mother's curse undermines their foundations. Okay, so and this is not the shit on mothers. It's to say, without a father in the household, right, there's no real foundation. That the household, it's going to lack a solid foundation that's going to be rooted in really morals and principles. Like, this kid's gonna grow up, these children are gonna grow up without a father, which means they're gonna grow up without a sense of order, right? And respect, and a sense of duty and responsibility, right? If a father establishing a certain set of laws and commandments, so to speak, in the household, a mother's curse will undermine that, because she feels like she's not the authority. That's how these women are. That's how these women are. A lot of these women are sick like that. They're actually sick in the head. All right, let me go to 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 5, and it reads, for after this manner in old time, the holy women also, who trusted in the Most High, right? How do you trust in the Most High? You trust in the Most High by trusting in His order that He set. Okay, it's the Heavenly Father Yahawah, then it's Yahawashi, then it's the man, then it's the woman. That's the order. So trusting in the Lord, trusting in Yahawashi will have you in line with that order. That wicked woman, okay, she doesn't care about order. She cares about herself and what she believes. It says, for after this man in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in the Most High, adorn themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with amazement. Okay, and that's what you have to understand. All right, there's an order to things. In an order, when you have order, it prevents what? It prevents chaos. Order prevents chaos. Okay, and if you're not willing to get in line and play a position because you want to be an authority, or you want your voice to be heard, or you feel like you equal to a man, well, it's going to reflect in your children and your energy and your vibration and what your if your relationship is considered healthy or not. And that's it. You know, that's what it's going to look like. A couple more precepts and I'll close out. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. It's chapter 7, verse 26. I'll get it in there. Ecclesiastes 7 and 26. And it reads, "And I find more bitter than death the woman." Okay, and the reason why I wanted to get this verse, because that woman, it was all bitterness. Okay, she was triggered by something. It was all bitterness. I don't need a man. We can advocate for ourselves. My mom didn't need a dad. All that aggression was proof of her bitterness. It says, "And I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands and bands, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleases the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her." Okay, a wicked woman is given to a portion to a wicked man. So if you end up with a broad like that, hey, that's the Lord's doing. All right. Verse 27, "Behold, this I have found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found," which is like a virtuous woman. And it's so difficult to find a woman who could be in order, but that's the curses that we under. Okay, because you got to remember, our women are under the curses too, right? And again, this is all for the man though. The woman, you know, we got to deal with these wicked ass women because, you know, so it's a punishment unto us. And that's just the truth, man. It's the truth of the matter. And I'm gonna close out with this. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 3 and verse 16. Get right to the point. And see the caption: Judah's woman denounced. Moreover, Salakia, the Lord Yahawashi saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and minting as they go, and making the tinkling with their feet, which is exactly what that woman looked like. Therefore, the Lord shall smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. Right? And you look at the woman's hair, because the woman's glory is their hair. You look at the hair of the so-called black woman. Right? He smite the crown, the scab the crown of their heads. Okay, it's all jacked up. In that day, the Lord will take away their bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their calls, and their round tires like the moon. Let me read this in the NLT. Isaiah 3 and 16 in the NLT. The Lord says, "Beautiful Zion is haughty, craning her elegant neck, flirting with her eyes, walking with dainty steps, tinkling her ankle bracelets. So the Lord will send scabs on her head. The Lord will make beautiful Zion bald. On that day of judgment, the Lord will strip away everything that makes her beautiful: ornaments, headbands, crescent necklaces, earrings, bracelets, and veils, scarves, ankles, bracelets, sashes, perfumes, and charms." So the Lord is going to do the so-called black woman filthy. Okay? And you other tribes who are not in order: rings, jewels, party clothes, gowns, capes and purses, mirrors, fine linen, garments, head ornaments, and shawls. Instead of smelling of sweet perfume, she will stink. She will wear a robe of sash, and her elegant hair will fall out. She will wear rough burlap instead of rich robes. Shame will replace her beauty. Okay? The men of the city will be killed with the sword, and her warriors will die in battle. The gates of Zion will weep and mourn. The city will be like a ravaged woman huddled on the ground. And what do you think is going to happen when the men, a lot of these men are killed? Okay, you so-called black women and your wicked ass 2/3 niggas that you with. When they get killed, you really not gonna have no protection. You ain't got no protection from the beginning. But when the Lord starts judging these niggas, these 2/3 rebellious jakes, it's gonna be even that much worse for the so-called black women. Alright, so with that, I'm going to end it there. I hope you were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, the elder bishops, the great Millstone, who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.